welcome to Spain. How's it going?
It's going bien, Tanya. A two.
Oh, very good, because we have kind of a joint Spain
We
today,
do.
or kind of one for Xena actually, but we all experienced it, which was fun
We
because
were all there
we
for it.
met.
Yes.
Yes, we met yesterday and went to the fair in the Turia Gardens, which is was really fun, and we literally took us till the very last day to actually go.
Right.
So it wasn't last minute at all. Um,
We've been three times this month already, but for you,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's sort of it was nice. It's not huge. It's a nice little fair. It has everything you need. It's got a bunch of rides. It's got probably very lovely food, which we didn't try, and lots of places where you can throw darts at balloons, and just like a really good fair experience. It
Right.
was perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so we had I we did not do very well with the games.
No, I
Everybody.
did not.
No. And Xena like got up to the balloons with the darts, and you have to get three in a row, and then you can get a prize. So they have like big stuffy toys. They have all the same stuff everyone's seen in fairs. All I think they're all done by basically the same, whether you're in England, America, here, whatever.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing. And so stuffed toys, and then some electronic-y things like some headphones, and then some smaller things. I think. I mean, it was a range,
That's
right?
a range. Like they got little toy trucks. They've got headphones. They've got like kind of off-market game consoles. Off-brand game
Yes.
consoles.
I do think actually, now that you mention the trucks, I think one of us did hit a dot at a truck.
That would be Paloma. She
Yes. So I got one balloon, and Xena went and was like, pop, pop, pop. It was like, what? Like three in a row, perfect. And you only get three darts and you have to get three. So if you miss on your first one, the other two are like pointless,
right. What's the
which is
point?
a bit of a bummer. But the nice thing about it was the guy was like, pick anything you want. And we're all
Hmm.
just like, what? Anything? Like the range from tiny little plastic thing all the way to the giant stuffed toy? And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And that
insane,
was a
isn't it?
surprise. That was a surprise to me.
Because I don't know about your experience, but when I was growing up going to fairs in the States, it was you had to work your way up. If you won, then you
Mm-hmm.
could trade in your little Hot Wheel for a Tonka truck, and then the Tonka truck, and for maybe you could get who knows, right? And then you work
Yep,
your way up to the 4 foot tall Bugs Bunny, right? But that was and $300
exactly.
later, then you got that, right?
Yeah, and I've been to ones where you get like little tickets, and you can, if you stay there for a couple of hours, you collect all your tickets, and then you can go to one of the places, and with your 3 tickets or 20 tickets, depends on what level
Right.
of prize you get. And he was just like, pick whatever you want, and she looks at me and she's like, can I get the headphones? But we literally picked that one because she wanted the stuffed toys, right? We literally
Right.
picked the one with the stuffed toys she wanted, and then when she heard she could get anything, she's like, I want headphones.
I should get the stuffed toy. I was like, and I was looking at her like, but the Stitch doll you wanted is up there. Why are you?
It's like, what are we doing? And then, so she got the headphones. And then later, which I thought was really funny, and this was like a perfect parenting moment from you, she was like, can we go back? I want to get the stuffed toy. And you were like, you already won one. You're not winning again at a carnival ride. Like, that's just
Right.
not happening.
You got to stop the gambling addiction nip it in the bud,
Exactly.
right? Well,
Yes.
I will say this kind of actually, in a roundabout way, leads us to our episode because what she won will eventually end up in the trash.
Maybe sooner rather than later, because we're not sure what the quality of the headphones were. So,
Exactly.
how would you recycle headphones? Because this is what it's all about if you move to Spain. If you're coming from America, if you're coming from England, this is not going to be a surprise. If you're coming from America, the level of recycling and managing of your trash is
Hmm.
quite a procedure. Like when we were living in Alexandria, we were separating out our trash, but then we found out that we were recycling our glass for no reason whatsoever, because they suddenly said, oh, yeah, we haven't had a glass recycling contract for 2 years, but we didn't want to stop anybody from doing it because everyone had kind of got into a pattern of recycling. And I'm like, I've been sitting there with these damn glass bottles, which are not light, like moving and
Right.
recycling and putting them in the right thing, and getting in arguments with my husband over this of something that's not happening.
Right,
So
right.
yes. So
And I
here
think
it's
back in the States, each municipality has
yes.
there's more stringent, right? Like I think that they have their rules. Like I mean,
Oh yeah.
in like when we were in LA, our apartment building had three bins. You had a
Mm-hmm.
green, a blue, and then the big metal dumpster, and it was like I was just like, how are they separating all this? If everything's going in this blue bin, are they really separating the paper from the plastic here?
I think
But
that's a
here
whole
they've
other yeah, I think that's a whole other debate on how well the the result of the separating recycling in every country is happening, but we're just going to assume that it's happening everywhere here because there's bins for it. And speaking of municipalities, this wonderful
oh, but I
word.
wanted to ask you. I didn't answer your question. You
What
asked
question?
where what bin would her
Oh yes,
headphones go into? Well, her headphones in the city would go into a gray bin, the resto bin.
the resto bin. There you go.
Now we're gonna
Well,
get into the color schemes,
now we'll get into the
kids.
color scheme. So speaking of municipalities, was if you live outside of the city, there is a that if you have over 5,000 residents, you're required to have a collection system that we're just about to talk about. If you live in a smaller area, you might have what Gaetano just explained, which is a resta bin, which is the rest. It's like literally everything else. And you might have one of those near you, but then you will need to go and take all your recycling to a central point somewhere else. And it may not be that close. Where we live, we have the resta bins all up and down our street, like very close to us. Within two houses, you're going to have a resta bin, but it's not your
Mm-hmm.
own, and you take your trash out and you can walk to it and dump it there. But if you want to do further recycling, all our other colored bins are somewhere else in the urbanization, and you're driving dry goods to somewhere else on your way out or
Mm-hmm.
something. And then I've seen other urbanizations where they don't even have the resta bins near people's houses and they're driving their trash. So you see cars driving like with the trash hanging out of their window and they're driving their trash somewhere, and that is possibly something people want to look out for. Make sure you have a resta bin somewhere close to where your house is, because
Because
otherwise
I'm
that's
just
what you're
gonna
doing.
say ew. I'm just gonna
Yes,
say ew.
also. Yeah, I don't want to be dealing with that. So I'm very thankful. And I've seen nice neighborhoods where that's the case. And people in their nice fancy cars are driving their trash to a central point in that urbanization. I'm like, ooh, yeah, no,
Right.
thank you. So should we get into the colors? Because it's fun.
We can
Colors
there's
are
and there
fun
and we have found out too that our colors don't necessarily align. I mean, for the most part, I think they do, but there
for
are
the most
difference
part.
from where
Yeah.
you live to where we live. So
Which there's
let's
no
break it down.
explanation for, really.
No, we'll get into that.
But for the most part, yes.
So we have for blue, I'll go with blue,
Okay.
is the we have our paper and cardboard, which I think is the same, right? And we have it here.
That is true, but you also have to be careful. So, if you have like a pizza box, you have cardboard that has food on it, that cannot go in the blue. The blue is for
Right,
clean paper cardboard, stuff that does not have any organic matter on it and can be recycled properly as paper and cardboard like that.
right, right.
And
And
then
in
we
the
have,
city, oh, I was going to say in the city, if we have these organic bins, which is like your food stuff. But if you have the paper product with the food on it, it goes in that because it's kind of like a composting kind of thing. It's compostables,
yes,
compostables.
that's compost
So yeah,
compost. And yeah, and we do our own, we have our own compost in our garden, so we don't have to deal with that. So we
okay.
do our own composting of our extra because we have the luxury of having a space for that. So we don't need to be doing that with the city bins, but that is also an option. And then yellow is for plastics and cans and the Tetra packs that like orange juice and milk might come in,
Right. The
or
boxed drink things, the drink
or
boxes.
gazpacho actually comes also.
Gazpacho,
This is not
yeah.
always a drink.
So, can I just tell my own funny story about the yellow bins? So, it took me a while because they switched out our bins here. So, first they were just yellow, right? So, we got
Okay.
new bins after like 6, 8 months of living here. And it was just a yellow bin. And I knew that was for plastic, right? And I knew it was
Okay.
for plastic and the paper boxes.
Mhm.
but it had said nothing about metal cans. And so I was just convinced
Um,
the first 8 months that metal was not recycled in Spain and I was throwing it in the resto bin. And then when they put the
oh.
new dumpsters on our thing, it had a picture of a can on it. I was like, yeah, I thought that was
Ah,
weird because
oops.
metal's a lot easier to recycle than these plastics
Right.
are. The plastic they have to divide, there's like 40 different types of plastics. And I was like, how are they not recycling metal here? Is there ore as far as the eye can see? I didn't know.
It is really helpful when they put the sign on, right? And that
Yeah.
wasn't the case. So we had signs on the all the recycling ones, but we didn't have signs on the Resta ones. They just now put a sign on them literally last week that says Resta, but that's like very, very new. So there is a certain amount of general understanding that is expected. And I think they're realizing that that's maybe starting to dwindle a little bit, and they're starting to actually put signposts on these things a little bit. So that's the yellow. Um, Brown.
Brown. So, and brown here is the organic matter. And is it the
Yeah.
same up for you?
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
food, organic. That's something that we don't use a lot of because we have our own compost. But that would be
Okay.
sort of, yeah, your organic everything. And then we have green, and it's a special shape, which is for glass.
The
So
igloo? Is it an
the
igloo shape? Because
igloo
that's
with a
what we
hole. So you can't
with
get
a
like a
hole. Yeah.
bag into this. You can only get bottles in, and they go in and
Right.
smash if it's just been emptied, they go in and they smash at the bottom, so you can kind of tell how much people have been drinking that
Mhm. That's
weekend.
the fun part. Like that's the fun part is when it
It
crashes
is.
in there. Yeah.
And I've been there where people have just left. I mean, you have like a weekend in, especially, I mean, for us up here anyway, where people are coming for the weekends sometimes, and they live in the
Right.
city. And after a weekend, I mean, that igloo, we need like 4 igloos after that.
Right.
And because there was a lot of wine and beer
Right.
bottles, and they're just now stacked up outside. And yeah.
Well, I mean, I will say, so we live on the third floor, and when the truck comes to pick up the bottles, which is like during the
Mm-hmm.
day, and you hear it because it's loud, because you can hear it going down the street and the bottles crashing. But
Oh, wow.
it's like in a one of those like construction dumpsters. That's what they're dumping it into here. Like it's on a
Oh,
semi,
okay.
like a flatbed truck, but with those like kind of open dumpsters that they use at construction sites.
Oh, it's
That's
not
what
like a
they're dumping.
regular trash truck. It's
No, it's like
interesting.
this
Okay.
open flatbed thing that they're dumping it into. And when you see that come by, you're like, wow, they drink a lot here because that's a lot. I mean, that thing is filled up with wine bottles, and that's
Yeah.
happening once or twice a week that thing's coming around. And so,
Yeah, and I will say that probably also explains why ours is at the entrance. That's the only trash we have that's at the entrance to the urbanization, because
oh,
that
that'd be
thing is
so loud.
loud,
Yeah.
and you don't want that truck driving through the urbanization either. So they'd be nice
Mm-mm.
enough to put that one all the way at the front. So if I want, I can trash my regular trash outside my house. I have to drive to a central place to do all the other recycling, and then the glass is on the
Okay.
way out. I always thought the glass was on the way out because people were using it so much, they wanted it to encourage them to just dump their glass on the way out of the urbanization. But now that you're explaining it, I'm like, oh, it's because it's so loud.
It's not
I
because
had
they
other
finished their
reasons.
bottle of wine before they went to work, Tanya.
Right. Drinking while driving and then dumping the bottle in the thing on the way out. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that's the only one for us that's like separated like
So
that.
you did I hear you say that it's a special green? Does that mean you have another green bin
Oh yeah,
up
so
there?
for us, so you said that your Resta is gray.
Yes.
Our Resta is green, but it's like a dark green, and it's also a regular looking trash bin, not the igloo.
Okay.
So, and then they, like I said, they just put a sign that says Resta on it. But I will say, when we first moved here, there was quite a bit of unsolicited advice from neighbors on how to use the trash system.
Okay.
Probably rightly so, because it's like we had never experienced anything quite this meticulous. So I
Mhm.
will say some of it was probably the first person, and the second person, it was probably like, thank you. And then the rest of them, it was like, okay, the other people have already got to me. Like maybe you can text each other and let them know that we've been told. But you're
Right.
not supposed, I mean, you in this Resta bin, it's Resta, but it's not for everything. You cannot put furniture like broken chairs,
Right. Right.
you cannot put anything else in there. It is just for the all the rest of the things that cannot be put in one of these other recycling things. So it doesn't leave a ton of things. I mean, really. But it's not like in America where you just throw everything into a trash, except maybe your glass, and then it all goes. I mean, you're separating out the paper and everything.
Right.
Um,
I will say you look at the rest of it here, and it's got a lot of things that can be separated out. But
for
we're only
sure.
human, and we can only do so much, right? If
Yes,
we
but
all
if
make a
you
little
live,
effort, it's better than no effort. So I'm
yeah,
going to say
but
that.
if you live in a neighborhood like we do with houses where you know all your neighbors, they know what you've done. Because we
I
have a
know what you
trash
did with
bin.
your trash.
Yeah, we have a trash bin every, let's say, 3 houses. So you only have maybe 3 houses or four at most putting trash into one bin. So they know it wasn't them or their other neighbor, then it's probably you. Right. So, in the
Right.
city, you take your stuff down, you're putting it in a dumpster. Nobody's much the wiser. Um, and then I would say for our garden stuff, which I think is really
Hmm.
nice because my mom in England has a bin that she has to take all of her garden clippings to, which I think is a tremendous
Like
amount of work.
branches and
Yeah, like if
things,
you're
like
doing, yeah, all the, if you cut your
prunings.
grass and you don't want to leave the grass on the grass, like, and you're picking up, you got to take that down. So for us, any garden stuff that we do, trimmings, goes out on the street in front of our house, and you can bag all the pine needles that you're, and the leaves and stuff that you're picking up. Those go in bags, and big branches can go on their own on the side of the street outside your house. And every Thursday, there's the garden truck that comes and picks up all the gardening things. And
Now,
that's
can I ask
super
a
easy.
question? I'm going
Hmm.
to ask it anyway. I don't need your permission. I'm going to ask a question.
You don't. I don't have to answer it. So,
So, with these trucks coming by with the gardening, is there like an opposite side of the street parking? Is there a day you're not supposed to park on the street so the truck can come pick up this stuff?
no, they just are. I mean, we make the effort not to completely cover, like completely block where we put gardening stuff with our cars, but
Hmm.
we
Okay.
most people have enough room in front of their house where we live that they can park a car out front, or some people park it inside and still have enough room to put all your gardening stuff that they can get to.
Okay.
And they are like, they'll take, so there's a certain amount. This is again where your neighbors will get involved. If you have somebody come and maybe, or you maybe cut a lot of stuff from your garden. So we had like the trees cut between our house and our neighbor's house, and the person that
Hmm.
came and did that took all of that trimmings away and took it to a recycling center, which we'll talk about later. But what a lot of people will do is have someone do that, and they leave it all outside of their house, and then all the neighbors will get up in arms on the WhatsApp group about, like, you're not supposed to do this, it's too much, the truck's not designed for taking this much stuff, and da 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 da. There's like a respectable amount of garden waste that you can put outside your house, and the rest of it needs to go to the
Okay.
eco park. Yeah, so
That
it's
you
a
have to
thing.
get there or arrange to get there? Like you have to get like, or the tree trimmers would arrange for it to get there if there's a
Should we
lot?
get into the eco park?
Sure. Well, I think while we're talking bins, let's get over the two. Now, I don't know if you have them there where you live, but here in the city, they're not. So our trash bins are on in the middle of every block, and they're on every intersection. At least in my neighborhood, because it's a grid. It's a grid system, so it's easy
Hmm.
to have it like that.
That's very
But I would
accessible.
say every couple blocks we have bins for oil waste, and we have bins for recycling clothes, and it's not for charity. They recycle the fibers, which I thought was
Mm,
interesting. I thought we were giving them the charity. I thought we were doing good, but I think we've talked about before. There's not a lot of like charity things to donate things
yeah.
to, so it's not for that. But it's they actually are recycling the fabric, which I thought was kind of
Oh, that's
crazy.
very
But
interesting. I feel like I've seen a lot of different types of donation, what we would consider donation things for clothes, and I think some of them might be, but then you'd have to check that they have some kind of charity written on them for it. And the other ones, I'm
mm,
sure, like you said, that sounds, I hadn't heard that, but yeah, that makes sense as
it's just
well.
this little orange metal thing, and it's got one of those like kind of lazy Susan kind of openings, and
Yeah.
if you put too many clothes in, it won't do it, and so
Yeah, so we
But
have the
anyway.
same thing. So for us, we have all of the basic trash bins that we talked about, the blue, the yellow, the brown, not the gray because you have the gray, the darker green, and the gloss green. We have all of those inside our urbanization, but these places for putting clothes and things like that are kind of like down the street somewhere, like in the town. in various places
Okay.
in town. So you just have to find out where those are. And the other thing that's variable around town or in a store are battery and light bulb recycling spots.
Mhm.
So those you can find in various places, somewhere close to you. I don't know where you have them, but sometimes Media Market has batteries and Consume has batteries and light bulbs. Sometimes some of these shops have those things.
So for us, it's I can never remember which store has it, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Right,
I
that's the
think
thing.
I think Little has it, and then some of them are like I don't remember which one I can bring things to, and then I
Right.
never remember. But thankfully nowadays with all of our rechargeable things, we're not going through batteries like we used to, so
No, it's
they
not so
stack up
bad.
for a while.
Yeah, you got the LED lights and rechargeable stuff. It's not so big. And then I was in a town where they had like city ones where they had a spot in the town center and various places on the street where you could throw in batteries and stuff. So I thought that was kind of
Hmm.
cool. So that it does kind of work. And speaking of the oil, I haven't and
Hmm.
I haven't done it, so I don't know, but I've seen bottles of oil outside people's houses, and I have to assume that that is for someone to be coming and picking it up versus
Right.
people taking it. You were saying there's a bin for that. Is a bin?
Yeah, ours is like it's a bin and you put it in it looks almost identical to the clothing bin.
Okay.
But it kind of operates, it's got kind of a lazy Susan opening that, you move it and then it goes into a hole. So you put it in, you have to put your oil in a plastic bottle. It's
Okay.
like you reuse like the oil, the bottle it came in, or a different kind of plastic bottle,
Hmm.
and then you dump that plastic bottle, and
Oh,
that's
okay. So
how
they're
it.
relying on
I mean, you don't dump
people.
it. I mean, the whole bottle goes in the thing. You don't have to like pour
Right.
it
So
out.
they're relying on people closing that properly and the whole inside not just being a vat of old oil, I guess.
Oh, of the bottle itself
Yeah.
that you're putting in. Yes, yes. I hope you would not using some sort of flip top.
Yeah, so I've seen that here when I first moved. I'm like, why are people leaving bottles of urine outside their houses? Because I wasn't really familiar with how much like deep frying people were doing
Well,
here.
if that's the
But
color of their urine, I'd be more concerned about their health. So,
well, well, some of it looks. I mean, the ones I've seen look almost like new oil. Like I don't know. Anyway, so I think what is possibly happening, but I can't confirm this, is that people are leaving it outside their house for a certain day or for a certain pickup that they know is happening that I've never heard of.
I mean, well, fried food is a very popular item here, right? I mean, I feel
It
like
is.
I
Yeah.
see much more deep frying instructions. Side note: I see a lot more deep frying instructions on products I buy from the grocery store than I remember
Oh
ever
yeah.
seeing in the States, right? Like it's
Oh yeah.
air fryer, oven, and oil, and I feel like oil is. I mean, we don't deep fry like they do here. They are expecting you to have a deep fryer on your
They
counter
are.
here.
And I will say, we don't deep fry here. We had a deep fryer that we bought in America, and we did a couple of fish and chips things, and then with that, like it got old. But I will say, I didn't know what to do with that oil. Like there didn't seem to be a system for getting rid of oil like there is
Hmm.
here. So there is here a system for that. I don't know exactly what it is if you're not in the city, but there is a system for it. So I'm grateful for that because it's not when you have all that oil, it's really, yeah, it's hard to know what to do with
It's
that.
it's bad trash. You can't put it like
It
in
is really
places, right?
bad trash. Oh my
So
goodness.
you were going to mention something that I do not have to worry about, but I think a lot of people do, which is this eco park, which is not a Costa Rican mountain
So yeah,
experience,
so
is it?
when we first moved, we were driving up to like see the house, and there was a sign that said eco park this way, and I was like, oh, we're near a park, like maybe it's a water slide park or something, and I was like super excited, and so we just took the detour and like drove down there, and I'm like, it's a recycling center. Like that is really not as fun as I was hoping that was gonna be, but
So you're like, is it like the seated like vacation? We're coming up to Wally World, but it wasn't Wally
yeah,
World.
it was exactly like that. It was very disappointing because we did move out into the middle of with nothing really out here. So it was quite nice to think that maybe something had been put out here that would be fun. But what that is for, speaking from before about the trimmings, when we had the trees cut, that was a lot of extra trimmings that could not be put on the street because that's not what
Hmm.
those garden trucks are for. So, and when we had our kitchen demolished as well. Same thing. All the tile and everything was put into bags, and that had to be taken down to the eco park. So what they have is you go in. There is somebody that mans it, and it has hours, so it's not open all the time. So maybe just during the day, you can go in minus the siesta. Probably it probably opens at
Mm-hmm.
7:30, has a siesta, and it's open later. But they have skips for everything. So tile, like all the things that glass, tile, all this construction material, whatever. But also a place for batteries and light bulbs. So you can literally take anything there, and they have a place for it, and then it's organized and it's then recycled from that one place. So it's really really cool. So
Okay.
yeah, so we took down, so the gardener that had cut down all of the trees, not cut them down but trimmed them, just took all that. And I think if you have a business you can get a license to dump more stuff there. Otherwise, if you're
Okay.
just a normal human being, you can probably go there with a normal amount of stuff, and then you got to spread it out over various days if you have a lot of something.
Question about this. Now, do you have to pay when you go to put your
Mm-mm.
trash, or is it free? Because, like in the States, you have to pay for, to dump
Special.
these kinds of things. Yeah, electronics
Yeah.
and all that stuff. You have to pay a fee to put that there. And then, like some of this, like in LA, they had like twice a year you could do it for free. You could come down to these places
Interesting.
for
So
free. But
we had, when we moved and we were really like purging all our stuff, and the stuff that we needed to get rid of, that we went down to a some trash place, and we didn't have to pay, but we did have to go in, say what it was, and then they gave us a skip to put it in, and that type of thing. But
mm-hmm,
here, no, you don't have to pay, but you are limited on how much you can use. I don't know if you have a business and maybe you can pay to do more every day, and then maybe you get a
mm-hmm.
tax deduction on it or something, because there's something there. Someone did explain to me once that you can get, like, I think a permit for it or something. So because it's huge skips, so it has the capabilities to take in construction, um materials and things like that,
Okay.
which I think is, so that's good. So I mean, we have an eco park that's really close to us, which is very convenient. I don't think they're quite far apart, I think. And they also have mobile ones, which are really cool. And I don't know, you probably don't need those in the city, but in the town where we live, they'll have a mobile eco park pop up every now and again, maybe once a month or something outside the consume.
Mm-hmm.
And they are like a container, one of the containers that they've converted so that the front opens, and then they have like trash bins in there, so you can like roll up and probably get rid of batteries and light bulbs, and maybe some, not huge amounts of stuff, but maybe some of those extra things that have got kind of piled up in your house, you can take them to
And will
that.
it take electronics like old TVs and those kinds of
Probably.
things?
I don't, probably not big things, probably not old TVs. I think they're not taking large items. So large items here, I don't know how they work in the city, but they probably work differently.
Well,
What
let's
do you
compare
do?
notes.
What do you do if you want to get rid of a sofa, let's say? It's not going to be donated, it's whatever, whatever, or a TV or something.
So here you call, there's a number you call, or you do it online. Sorry, you go online and you have to get a code. And you write that on a piece of paper and you tape that piece of paper to your item and you leave that on the sidewalk.
Oh,
So
cool.
you can't just leave stuff on the sidewalk. There has to be a code. So I think that's so the trash people know that they have to come down this, the special trash people
Mm-hmm.
come down the street knowing that they're looking for an old grandfather clock at this address with
Right.
this number on it. Otherwise, they won't pick it up. Now, mind you, I didn't realize what that was. I was like, why are people writing these numbers on them? Like, this is so weird to
Is
me. And
this
then
free?
someone told me, yeah, yeah. Well, and it is, because then what you'll find out is the trash truck never collected the thing because someone else has already dumpster dived it and taken it
Oh,
home, right?
well,
Because
there you
like
go.
there's
Yeah.
some good finds, if you live in a city and
Mm-hmm.
people are getting rid of a thing they don't like, everyone's trash is someone else's treasure kind of
Is this
moment,
is
right?
this
So
um is this a particular time of the month, or is it like whenever you want, you can
any
just put it
day,
out?
yeah, any day. I mean, now I don't know if like when you put the code in, it says we're doing it on Wednesday. Do it when that I
Mm,
don't know because I've never put anything out, but I have seen stuff any time of the week. Like there, it hasn't.
right.
I haven't noticed like, oh, Saturday the sidewalks filled. No,
Right.
because I don't see it that often. Right, it's very rare. But I
Right.
did see, which I thought was interesting, a computer printer, and I was like, oh, is that how you get rid of electronics too? Because
Mm,
I've
mhm.
really only seen like large like sofas and furniture type items, and
Yeah.
I saw this little sad printer there, and I was like, oh, I
Oh.
guess That's how you get rid of a printer. So now I know.
Now you know, I think you can do anything. So here it kind of works the same way, but we have an app for the city, and you can upload a picture and tell you, it already knows where your address is. So you just upload a
Okay.
picture and say I'm leaving, and then it basically is like, this is being left outside my house. But I do believe that, and it's for anything. I mean, as long as you take a picture of it, they'll come pick it up, and it's like you said, a special truck that's going to come pick it up if someone doesn't take it first. But I think they only do it once a month. But I've never been able to figure out. This is another one of those kind of like Spanish things that I know it's happening, and everyone else seems to know
Hmm.
when it's happening, but I don't know where they're posting this information, because it seems like every month they're doing it. And it
Hmm.
seems that you could also just, when they do that, if you know it's happening on the 28th of August, you can also just put stuff out and they'll come take it, because it's all the oversized things. Basically, it's the things that don't
And
fit
you
into
don't have
anything.
to put it on the app, or
I
you still
don't.
do
This
have
is.
to do it.
I'm not sure. I think if you're going to do it, put it on the app anyway, because then they know. But I'm sure they're picking up
Hmm.
other stuff that hasn't been put on the app, because everybody knows that the 28th of August, let's say, is the day that it's happening. Because I've seen, like, on certain days, a lot of stuff that is being put out. So, like, where we live, there was a date in Alexandria where they were like, this is happening on this day, and everybody would put stuff out, and it became also a time for everybody to drive around and pick up other people's stuff that they wanted, right?
Right.
Because they were doing it on a certain day, it became a really great way to get secondhand furniture and things.
Right.
So
Right.
if it is organized, it's kind of useful, but
You
I
got
never
the
know when
people
they're
with the big
happening.
trucks. We have
Yep, just
those in
pick it
LA
up.
too. The big trucks picking stuff up. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff is good. I will say here, when I see stuff outside, it's usually really old. Like the it's, and when I say old, I mean old in style as well. I mean, it's like
Right.
somebody's finally getting rid of the bed head that great grandma had. Like, it's not,
From
they're not getting,
1962. It's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, or maybe even earlier.
Right.
I've never seen that many great things on the road that I'm like, whereas in Alexandria, I was like, people are putting out good stuff here. Maybe this could be a nice side table.
Right. Well, I will say I did get a good end table that my friend, I was having a cocktail party and my friend Melissa was coming over and she just brought it up. She goes, "Don't you need an end table for your bedroom?"
I love it.
And it's been perfect ever since.
Well, maybe there's better stuff in the city. Let's go with that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I would say better stuff. She found an item. I would say she found an
Yes.
item because
Well,
I have seen some hideous things on the corners as well. Yes.
there's always, yeah, I mean, and some of it's just horrendous and just needs, but it is a good way. So if you are like needing to get rid of things, that's how you get rid of the oversized stuff. Basically, it's either, yeah, online in the app, or there's some way, a certain day that you can put it out. So
Um, and
I
so
think,
when do your trucks come? Because in the city, they pick up the trash in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m.
oh
And
God, no,
and
they can't do that here.
yeah, you hear that the trucks are coming along, except for the bottles. That's happening in the middle of the day because that would just be
Right.
horrendous. But it's like at 2 in the morning, you hear the trucks come by, and at 3 in the morning, they're washing the sidewalks in the middle of the night. Like that's kind of how the
Huh.
city is like getting cleaned. I rarely see them washing the sidewalks during the day. I've seen it happen, but it's at night. I might be a
Yeah.
little bit of a night owl, and I'll hear the truck, and then I'll see the people coming with the water trucks to wash the streets and sidewalks.
I love that they do that. Yeah.
Me too, because people don't necessarily clean up after their dogs, so it is nice to know that
That's also
eventually they get
nice.
washed away.
Yeah. We have the trash, the garden truck comes once a week on Thursdays, and the other truck comes at least every other day, if not every day. So it's very
Okay.
regular. Yeah. And I don't know who's doing it, because I've never seen anyone do it, but I've seen the water from it is somebody comes around and cleans the bins. And I don't know
Oh,
if they're
okay.
coming around
Like
late at
inside and
night.
out?
Yeah, just like, I mean, I see the soapy water, and I don't think it's a neighbor, but I haven't gone around to like all the things to see that they've all been done. So I think there's also a city truck that comes around and has like water, and they're spraying it. And then we do have a street cleaning little truck that comes around every now and again. They rarely do our street
Mhm.
for some reason. I don't know why, but the street's clean. So I think that's not really an issue up here, because you don't have a lot of people walking around on the streets just dumping things around.
Right, yeah. I mean, this is a very, um I mean, Spain is they're very into their cleanliness here, right?
Hmm.
The streets are washed. You don't really, except for the dog doo doo, you don't see people just throwing wrappers on the street. I feel like you don't see that kind of just
No.
loose trash, except when there's a fireworks or something. People just leave everything on the ground because that's what you do here. And as soon as the crowds left the mascleta or the festival or whatever the thing
Amazing.
is, within 30 minutes, 500 cleaners have come in,
Right?
swept it all up, right? And it's gone. And you're like, how the heck
How
did
did
that
that? I mean,
happen? That's amazing, right?
I can't imagine how that happens. And then I've seen some trash bins that are in the farm roads that we take sometimes where it looks like one of these trash bin areas it has become a place where people are coming, they must be coming from other areas and dumping more stuff at these bins because it's not near their home.
Hmm.
And some of it's like oversized. And then you're like, oh my God, that's a disaster. And then I drive back like, the next day and it's completely cleaned up. So the city is
Uh-huh.
taking care of it, even though that trash bin is clearly being misused for extra things
Right.
because it's in the middle of nowhere and no one can see anyone dumping anything. So it's like, yeah, they're misusing it, but the city's still on it, like, for the what it can do. So I've
Right.
been very impressed with how much trash is picked up and all of that in my experience.
So there's also, I want to talk about, there's a thing that you have seen that I
Oh
have
yes,
not seen,
so
and I
cool.
live here
Oh my
and
gosh.
you don't. And
Let
so
me
I
tell
have to
you.
find this thing.
Let me tell
Yes.
you, and
So tell them.
I will take you on an excursion, but we'll have to get a coffee and sit there and wait for it to happen. So I was walking, my brother was in town with his family, and so we were walking um somewhere, and I don't know exactly, somewhere near the Ayuntamiento square. And I this is obviously something, and I did go online before this just to check that this is something that is happening all over Spain and in other countries in Europe. And I think it's really cool. So we were walking by, and there were these really tiny little, almost mailbox looking trash bins, and a series of them. Like, this is your, I think they were all metal, but they were color coded for like trash and, paper and, this, but they were tiny. And we were in the middle of the city
Hmm.
center, and we were just like, and then we looked at it. I don't know why it caught our eye, to be honest. We're not like walking around looking for trash bins, but it was like, it looked like something was happening on the ground underneath it. And we were like, those are
Hmm.
really tiny trash bins for
For that
such a
space.
busy area, right?
And a side note is they don't have trash bins in that area because I remember when we were there and the first time you went there with the mascot, you're like, people are leaving trash everyone. Can't you take it out? I
Right.
was like, but there are no trash bins here because of terrorist activities and those kinds of things. They don't want where crowds gather
Right.
at the trash. So this might be their solution,
Yeah, and I have to be
maybe.
honest, I don't know where it was, but it was somewhere where we were touristing, doing the like, we have family in
Interesting.
town, let's go visit these places. And now I'm sort of getting better at like, we have our own little walking tour that I take everybody on that kind of hits all the good spots. And so we were somewhere in that
Hmm.
area. And my brother was like, like, oh, it looks like it opens. And I'm like, well, that can't be what happens. And yeah, it does look like it opens from underneath. And then we went, I think we had lunch, we visited something, we were coming back. And the moment that we walked by those things, the trash truck was there. And these trash, they opened, the floor opened up. There were massive like skips underneath that picked up the skip and took all the stuff out of it. And I was like, that is really cool. So you have this very small, like, chute area that you can put stuff in, and it's going into a massive skip underneath. So that means that, and then when I looked online, I can't confirm this is how it works, that there's a sensor where it knows when it's getting, full, and they send the trash truck to go pick it up. I think that whole situation is
Okay.
super clever, and it was very impressive because you don't have a lot going on above the street, but you have a lot going on underneath, and it
Right.
means that the trash bins aren't getting overflowed.
Right, right. And taking up the side. I mean, it makes sense for there because I will say it was a little disconcerting when we first visited Spain and we were in an Airbnb and I was like, "Well, where do we put our trash? Because there's no trash." And we were in a larger building that, from an American standard, would have like a trash chute,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I
Yeah.
was like, where do we put the trash?" I had to call the guy, and he was like, and then he texted me like I'm the idiot that I am, which was there's those bins out front of the building, but I'm like, in America you wouldn't take them down the street from your
Right.
apartment building, right?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was very odd to me, and now it's part of my second nature. I don't see them anymore. But they were like when I first came here, they are unsightly to see these dumpsters at every
Yep.
block and every corner. Like it's just if you're not used to it. Now I don't see them and they're great. There they are. And if you're walking down the street with a can, in 45 feet, there will be a recycling place to put your can.
Mhm.
So you're into it, but it is a little bit of a culture shock when you come here because if you're not used to seeing bins everywhere,
I will
and
say what's
that
nice about it, other than what you said, which is the accessibility to it, is that they are emptied regularly. So it's not you have the bins, but they're not overflowing and
right.
that. Like they're very well taken care of. And we where we lived before here, which was more of a town, they had built like a kind of a wooden bay for it. So that the because that's the other thing is in some areas you've got hills and sometimes so up here where we live, like these trash bins
It's
are
rolling
not
down the
they're
street.
all on wheels for some reason, and I don't know why.
Right.
That must make it. Must make it. They must need them on wheels for the trash truck to pick them up or something. But I don't know
Well,
why
yeah,
they're
because
on
they have to
wheels.
dump it.
Yeah, but why do they
Because
need
they
to
have
have
to move it into the
wheels?
street to dump it.
Oh, I have to move it to dump it. Well, so we get very high winds up here sometimes because we're up on the hill, like very very high winds, and sometimes wind and rain comes together, and it's like you are living in that part of the Wizard of Oz, right? And that's
Right.
happening, and I'm always thinking because we're a little bit where our car park's a little bit on a hill, and there's a trash bin at the top, and that trash bin has come down the hill quite a few times and it goes and hangs out with the other trash bins at the end of the street, right? They're having a little
Okay, now
party.
that's scary. They should have those like a little thing in the road, right? A little hump to stop that.
Yeah, well, I
But
suppose.
what I was gonna say about that, the thing that you saw, the underground thing, that makes sense, and is that because that is the tourist center of town, they
Mhm.
probably had that for the aesthetic reasons, because it would be not very Instagrammable moment to have these big dumpsters in the middle of the town square. So that could
No.
be another reason why they
Yeah, that's a good
implemented
reason.
that
But I
there.
did read online about these things, and I don't know where this exists, but there are other places where they have created a trash system where it goes underground, and then they have like suction pipes that actually take the trash from there to a central place, so they don't even have to go in and take away the trash from there. And I would imagine that would only work with the recycling things. I don't think that would work with other stuff,
That's very City of Tomorrow. I think I
right?
saw that at the Epcot Center in the one of their rides, right? Back
But
in the
but
day.
apparently
That
that's happening
seems
somewhere in Spain or in Europe. So they're kind of this, this is probably an experiment. Like you said, this is not something you could probably do everywhere, but in certain areas and
right.
certain areas that are very busy, to have this kind of system, I thought was really, really clever. And we wouldn't have noticed if we hadn't walked by when they were emptying it either.
Right, yeah.
So I was very
Well, now
impressed.
I'm going to be on a hunt out for it. I'm going
I'm
to be a
gonna have
hunt
to
out when
find
I'm
it. I will find it
Well,
and I
now that I
will.
know what I'm looking for, I will,
Yeah.
I
They're
mean,
like metal bins that look like chutes ish. And there were like three or four of
okay.
them in a row. So they obviously had the recycling, they would have had probably the blue for paper, the yellow for the plastic and cans, and then maybe the regular one for the rester or something like that. I would
Right.
imagine maybe three or four.
I don't think they're going as detailed as clothing and oil
No,
and
no, no.
tree clippings in the town square.
I think they're just managing beer cans mostly and ice cream cones and
Yeah.
cups is what I would be imagining.
Pretty much, yeah.
But it is
Bottles of
nice
water,
because
beer,
we've
and
all been places where the center of a city, especially a touristy place, is just ungodly with trash overflowing in trash bins because it's just impossible to keep up, right? And
right.
it's nice to have a different system for that, I think. So I'm generally very impressed with how they do trash and recycling in Spain. It's impressive and like you said at the beginning, the idea of taking your trash sort of out of your house and having to take it down the street or across the street seems like, oh my god. But you really get used to that, and it's actually kind of nice not having your own trash bins. I would actually go as far as to say, as living in a house.
Well, it keeps the rodents out. I mean, for you, it keeps the rodents out of your yard, right? You don't have this thing where
Uh,
raccoons and rodents can the
we have four
trash
cats. I think
can.
we have that covered.
Right. But
I
well, I don't know about raccoons. That's a fight, or possums. Do they
don't
have
think we
possums
have
here? No,
possums or
that's an
raccoons
American thing.
here. I think the most we might have is What would we have?
We
Well,
got wild
we got
boars.
wild boars. I don't think anything's keeping the wild boars out if they want to come, because they're getting awfully close to our urbanization around here. We can see where they dig up, like all around where all the places that we go out. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I think for the when we were living in Alexandria, we had a house. We did our trash. We had to roll those things out every Thursday or whatever, and the recycling one went out on a different day. So that was something that everybody had to take on as a job, which is not a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you forget, they don't take your trash if you haven't rolled your bin out. So,
Right.
that's a
And
thing.
if you're out of town, you got to make sure someone's doing it for
Right?
you if you've left trash before you.
So that's a whole thing.
Then the raccoons will have. Yeah.
They will. And so that's a whole thing you don't have to do, which I think is kind of nice. So I've been impressed.
I mean, I'm a fan of it now. You just got to do it. We leave the house. You take a bag down with you. It's
Everybody.
done.
Yeah, I think that covers it. Any other crazy trash stories? I can't think of any.
I think we've talked enough trash about trash.
Enough trash about trash. Yeah.
I mean, it might not be the most interesting episode, but I think we've made it fun.
I do wish that I had known this before I moved. I will say this is going to be on that list because it was a lot to learn about, and where we were living. If you don't have sort of, if everything's not sort of posted with a sticker of what's in it, you have to start by managing it in your house. So you can't just like go out to the trash and start putting things in different bins. You have to organize it in your house first and take it out like that. So if you don't know what's going on, it's like a little mind-blowing to try and organize it.
We have 3 trash receptacles under our kitchen sink for this exact reason.
Yes.
Well, Tanya, until the next time.
Until next time. Bye.
Hey, can't get enough of us? Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Ospain Podcast.
And on our website, ospain.com, which we will be updating with exciting new things as we grow.
We would love for you to message us with any topics you would like to hear about.
See you next time.
Bye.